Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the main quest order tournament 2023. Excuse me. This is a round 2 bracket match between Zuzek and Bobies. I am Cyril, and today I'll be joined on commentary by Tuko. Tuko, how's it going?
It's going great. I'm super excited for this race. It's the last race of the second round of brackets, and it's gonna be a banger. It's seed 4 versus seed 5, so it's guaranteed to be close, or at least really close. And yeah, very excited. We also have two very different runners here, like doing very different stuff, right?
Yeah, so this is going to be definitely an interesting match because we have Bobies. Bobies has opted to go through main quest order using Shuriken as his main weapon and his main way to defeat bosses in combat arenas, which is departed from the usual bow strats that you're going to see in main quest order. And on the other side, Zuzek actually prefers to optimize for real time, which means you're going to see a lot less QTMs on his part, and he's going to be doing some other cool and fun strats which are a little bit faster in RTA.
Yeah, we will see how big of a difference it will make. We had some races that got decided, like that had 8 seconds difference, so the minimal time saves from just every QTM could be important, that Bobby says, or it could just, he could be trumped by Zuzek's execution, so we will have to see how it goes. And with that, we're about to get started into the race. What are you looking forward to the most, Seal?
Yeah, I think sort of as has already been established in previous races, we're going to see if any of the runners can kind of set the early pace. Main quest order is kind of a brutal no reset category because there's just a bunch of like really difficult early tricks that we have to go through. We've got door skip, we've got hollow swim, and those kinds of things. We're going to see if the runners can hold their nerves and get through the early game successfully and see if anybody's going to get sort of like an early lead.
Yeah, absolutely. I personally hope to see a super close race throughout. That would be super hype. And with that, we're getting started. Of course, as always, we have to note the timer. This is a category that is run with the in-game timer to reduce load times. So you will see the timer stopping, and you will also see the timer's desync compared to the other runner, simply because loads can take a different amount of time depending on your hardware, which is why we go with the loadless timer in the first place. With that being said, Zuzek, of course, is opting to use RTA optimized strats, so he will not QTM, return to menu, every little cutscene, but instead try to have the lowest possible time in real time. Yeah, with that, we have our trusty torch.
Yeah, so going through early game, everything looking here pretty clean. Yeah, and I do definitely want to reiterate, hopefully we see a close match. Yesterday we had Dallery versus Ryan, and that was super close for most of the race, and that was super fun to watch. Yeah, so we're going with our first major skip here. Zuzek, not getting in the first time jump, gets a second one. Yeah, so we're going to do some nice little abusive torch mechanics and hovering over to this platform. Oh, that's really unlucky by Zuzek. That slime is supposed to die to the spikes. Doesn't. But he gets the first time Kiso jump, and that's really good on his part, because this is not easy. Bobby's getting second time. Zuzek probably taking a couple of second lead early on.
Yeah. Both having great execution here. These are very precise movements of all around in the early game. Everything optimized. We're getting the Spirit Light here. We need a total of 400 before we hit our first Ofer cutscene, because, well, Ofer is our trusty weapon dealer, and we need a very, very powerful, well, weapon, not necessarily movement tool from him, that we will be using throughout the entire thing. But for now, we got the second keystone from yet another NPC and can continue towards the region tree area. Of course, not quite getting that yet, but rather getting towards Hall. Wait, well, Seal, what do you think about Howl as a character in the game?
Howl is, I don't know, he's like the friendly neighborhood dog, maybe? He seems very, very threatening. He just wants to chase you around, and then you get to like give him pets with a torch, and then he runs away. I don't know. Seems very dog-like to me. Yeah, he's a little bit of a pushover for our very experienced runners here. I can't imagine him having any problems with him. You're going to see him be taken down in about 5 seconds or so. We see Zuzek getting here first visually. Obviously, the time differences means they're basically neck and neck right now. Yeah, Zuzek, nice job, gets through that very cleanly. Then we're going to see Bobies do basically the exact same thing here. Just, yeah, they know the patterns and they know how to take advantage of the boss's attacks to just maximize damage.
Yeah. Of course, it's also very important to know, like, the timings. For example, the health bar only appears after a certain amount of time. But with such experienced runners, yeah, no problem for them. And we're getting towards the first skill on Zuzek's side on the left. This is Sword, our main weapon throughout the early game, and on Bobies' side also throughout the entire run. We're mostly going to use it for now as a tool to kill these slimes that we see. Since we want those 400 Spirit Light, we need some Spirit Light from those, as well as just general movement. If we swing the sword towards the side, we can kind of hover in the air. If we swing it upwards, we kind of get a bit of momentum upward. And Zuzek, really nice being able to hover over here. We'll have to see if Bobies opts to go for this. Nope, wants to go around. Honestly, the safer option if you're not too familiar with that trick.
Yeah, trick is extremely difficult, saves about 3 seconds, and if you mess it up, you lose like 25 seconds or so. So it's a very, very high risk trick to go for. Zuzek is very, very confident with it. He just says he likes doing it. He thinks he can get it almost every time. So he's perfectly happy and comfortable to go for that in a race. Nails it. He's going to be dropping down to double jump tree in just a second. But he's opted for the slightly safer strat. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. In the grand scheme of things, a few seconds is not likely to make, not likely to be the difference maker in the race. So yeah, Bobies also going to be heading down to double jump tree in just a second.
Yeah, and that's Sword. We had about a difference of 5 seconds. Bobies ahead of Zuzek. Of course, yet again, the timers are desynced, so even though Zuzek is visually ahead, he might not be time-wise, and we are looking at the timer to determine the winner of the game. At double jump tree, wow, they are basically synced here, both with a 418 at that tree, so yeah, damn close race here in the early game. We're getting around and are getting towards our first trick, and this really can be a trick that you either get first try or you just take forever. One of the hardest tricks if you want to like fully optimize your route. And yes, just super hard to get right. Ooh, Bobies taking a bit of a death here. Luckily, the autosave puts him at this place. But yeah, Ice on the left, Zuzek first on this track will pick up the keystone and then try to maneuver around the walls to skip this keystone door to use the keystone for later. Yeah, doesn't get it first try. Quits to menu to reset the position of the enemy and try again.
Yeah, so Zuzek here is going for the most difficult version of this. It's stickless, no waiting for going for like the insta jump method. Gets it second try. Nice job, Zuzek. That is really well done. Cannot overstate how difficult this is when you're sort of in the early stages of a race and you're probably still feeling really nervous. You know it's coming and you're like, it's just horrifying and really, really difficult to just keep your consistency going. We're going to see Bobies attempting his now. He's going to do a slightly slower method. Still stickless, but he's going to be trying to time when this Frunky jumps to get a little bit of a better setup. Well, having a few issues actually getting back up after having a first failed attempt. And Zuzek is going to be approaching up to regen here, so he's going to be opening up an early lead.
Yeah, absolutely, but a lot of run left to go. There's approximately 55 minutes, depending on how long the runners are taking in. Bobies gets it this time. Oh! Whoa, that scared me. Is able to stay up here, otherwise he would have fallen down and had to do it again. But now also on his way towards the regen tree is gonna pick up some energy, thank you game, and some health for a later trick, and is gonna continue farming these. Spirit Light is cooking good, but oh, that movement, yeah. I definitely want to know about his nerf state at the start of this run. Zuzek already, after regen tree, just needs to collect 2 more slimes, and probably the plant at the top, and then is able to afford that sentry.
Yeah, so Zuzek here looking good in his Spirit Light count. There's 1 slime and 1 plant, which will give him basically exactly the amount of Spirit Light he needs, maybe 1 extra. He's going to be picking up So a little bit of damage reduction here from that shard, which names I've forgotten. As Bobies has just picked up Reckless and is going to be getting regen tree here. Yeah, so we're going to see Zuzek here coming up to the next sort of skip. This one is not so punishing if you fail. It's still definitely not using. This is over skip. And... oh, just barely... what? Okay, he's got through. He's good. We're fine. Just barely squeaking through that one. Almost sort of set himself up a fail with that down slash, but manages to get through fine. So good job on Zuzek in that part. And yeah, he's going to be continuing on through to the bow area.
Yeah, and you immediately saw why we want that sentry. We need those sentry jumps to be able to gain a lot of height very quickly. Even going for some nice aerial sentries, which are a lot harder than the grounded ones. As Bobies is still lagging behind, 30 seconds about. The time difference at Region Tree hopefully is able to catch a bit of that up in the course of the early game. There's a lot of hard tricks coming up again. So Zuzek is gonna go first into the bow room and is get the skill, and then also the 2 ice stones to be able to move throughout the statue and into the next area and just trick after trick for the early game.
Yeah, Bobies getting through over skip very cleanly. Good job for him. Got exactly in the Spirit Sentry. We're going to see him heading over. Zuzek is picking up the bow tree here. He's going to be getting bow. We're going to be using bow a lot more sort of later on in the run. For the immediate section, we're just going to be using it to open a couple of doors, to grab some eyeballs for a statue. You know, makes sense, sort of, maybe not, but that's what we do. Yeah, but we're quickly coming up to hollow swim, or down swim as some people call it, and that's definitely going to be the next major sort of trick for these runners to be going for.
Yeah, you might have noticed that we picked up a few extra health cells, as well as the shard that reduces our damage taken, resilience, and we're gonna use both of these to be able to maneuver through some water that is poisonous, and we're gonna use that to skip some parts of a puzzle that is just very slow. And we don't need to do it because it doesn't adhere to the main quest, so we can just skip all of it. So Zuzek is gonna grab this additional health cell to get to the count of 4, and also gonna start his downswim. So we will see how it goes. Takes this intentional damage to be able to use regen, and damage on those spikes to be able to take 1 extra hit, gets the save point. Now just needs to go through the second half. Easily done.
Nice job, Zuzek. Ooh, okay. Oh, nice. I almost got trolled by the little slug there. The slug, if it's facing away from you, will do this like AoE explosion attack, and it's very easy to just accidentally take a death from. Actually turned back around, but Zuzek just saved you, like slapped it into the water. That's fine. So he's basically going to be a dash in just a few seconds. As you see, Bobies here is going to be, yeah. Sort of getting into a similar thing, going for a hollow swim. Also in this area, in the dash area, Bobies is going to be spending a little bit more time, because Bobies is going to be opting to do the hollow spirit trial. And the reason he's doing that is because he needs a bunch of extra spirit light compared to Zuzek, because he's going to be picking up Shuriken.
Yeah, Shuriken is the main difference of the 2 routes. For now, just gonna follow into the steps. It will only be important on the way up. Zuzek taking a bit of a death to the crushers here. Is gonna try to not touch the ground, to not get the pickup animation. Nicely done. And can make his way back up towards the second half of the swim that Bobies is currently in. Did get the save. And yeah, nicely done. No problem for these runners at all. We will see on the left side after Zuzek picks up another shard here how much of a problem it will be for him. Hopefully it will be also smooth sailing. You don't really want to lose a bunch of time to that trick.
Yeah, the second half is probably the more difficult part, although any part can just have issues because we're doing a lot of blind movement and the setups are not always super clean. We're going to see Zuzek here taking intentional death to get some energy back so we can wave dash back across this area, go through it a little bit quicker. Going to be picking up energy cell here as we see Bobies activating the spirit trial on the right hand side right before he picks up dash. So yeah, we're going to see Zuzek here going for the second part of the swim. Ooh, doesn't get the save on the first try, so we're trying to hit a save point that's halfway in between this completely invisible water. And there's basically no setup for this part. Nice one, Zuzek, gets it second try. So you basically just got to build some muscle memory on how to do it. Then we take an intentional death on some spikes that you can't see, and then Zuzek is able to make it up. So nice job on Zuzek. Only took one death on the first part of that, but got through it overall pretty well.
Yeah, nicely done. No problem on this part. He's gonna go down to activate the eye here to be able to move on to the next area. Here we will skip the boss that we will do later. Since this is an all challenges subcategory, we do need to do all the bosses, but for now we don't have the shards and upgraded shards that we want to be able to just fight as quickly as we can, so we're gonna leave it for later. We're gonna pass through this area later. So while Demoki explained to us what's happening, we see the route divergence on Bobies' side. He's gonna go for the trial here. This will optimally take like 15-16 seconds maybe until he is done. Okay, super optimally it takes less, but we aren't trials runners.
I say trials runners are screaming right now. But yeah, for us normal runners it's a little bit slower, but that's fine. And yeah, we're gonna see Bobies also picking up an extra health cell, so Bobies is gonna pick up, as throughout the run, Bobies is gonna have one additional health. Not now, but eventually he will, which is gonna make his boss fights just a little bit safer. As we see, Zuzek has picked up Bash now. Is going to be zooming through this area. He's going to be doing another slight difference between the runners. Is Zuzek is going to be opening this door now towards Moldwook so that he can pick up the Splinter Shard. So that he can go through and do bow combat successfully in the early game, whereas Bobies, I believe, opts to open that door when he's actually going to Moldwood for real.
Yeah, I do believe that is the case. He's at least definitely not going towards the right as Zuzek is doing right now, because he does not need the shard, and also doesn't need the spirit light here because he just got 1000 on that spirit trial. So there's, of course, also other people that either go for Shuriken or also opt to do the Spirit Light. I do believe Bobies is the only person to do this exact route, but I'm not sure. Anyway, we're getting into the, kind of next section of the game. We're gonna grab our shards and upgrades that we've talked about plenty now, and are gonna move towards, well, it is a dungeon, I guess, kind of. Our next big area after we talk to our trusty frog or toad to get our first wisp, because we do need to get all the wisps here, or at least go to all the wisps.
Yeah, so we're gonna see Zuzek actually opting to go for a very, very late skip of that cutscene. The reason why we do this is if you skip it too early, you actually don't get the quest completed, which means we don't get Spirit Light. It gives us 200 Spirit Light otherwise, which we're gonna need for shopping. The runners here are gonna be doing a little bit of a high five over the Homburg Arena, as Bobies is gonna be going to collect Bash, and Zuzek is gonna be going sort of up and to the left in this way, so actually going through to Wellspring Glades. And is going to be doing this little shopping section. Wasn't able to get the fast wave dash back across the arena, but yeah, overall gets a nice little bow momentum. Oh, just enough high to avoid those spikes, but overall the health doesn't really matter in this stage of the game. We're going to see him come up to another skip right here. We're going to be dodging into the floor. Nicely done. Another skip done. That's Grum skip. And yeah, Zuzek is going to be going through and doing some shopping in just a second.
Yeah, and I just want to point out again, there is a big desync in the timers already. So even though Bobies might look very far behind, he's actually at Bash only about 25 seconds behind. And this will only get smaller, this difference, because he didn't go into towards the Moldwood Depths opening. So this is really much closer than it looks. He's gonna get this. Wow, okay, that was a weird pickup animation. I did not know it would play there. Yeah, he's gonna get some more Spirit Light here to be able to afford Shuriken as well as everything else, because Shuriken itself, since we already got the discount from over, costs 800 extra Spirit Light, so that is 800 more Spirit Light. But wow, Zuzek on the left with a really nice wave dash into an aerial sentry jump to skip a cutscene there.
Absolute swag from Zuzek. We're actually going to see Zuzek here doing the more traditional Wellspring entrance here. So not the sort of newer, the one that people refer to as reverse Wellspring entrance. He's going to be doing it the classic way, where you destroy the grove first, go over and cut his energy cell, and then just do a running grounded sentry jump to hit the wheel and go in the entrance that way, which is just a little bit safer and a little bit more comfortable. than the newer one. The newer one has definitely some uncomfortability waves around it, especially around getting this wave dash you need to get, and also the slime positioning can sometimes make it a little bit awkward. Yeah, so Zuzek getting through here nicely. Nice job on him. He's coming up to another major sequence break because we skipped the entirety of the first floor of Wellspring pretty much. And on the other side, Bobies has just picked up Shuriken, so he's got his main damage weapon unlocked now.
Yeah, and also note for the shards that he will be grabbing here, since he doesn't have the bow upgrades, he of course doesn't need to upgrade those, so he's going to get Wing Clip as well as a Reckless upgrade here, so that means he will deal more damage to all flying enemies as well as just more damage in general. And with that, he is ready to go as well. Also picked up Overcharge, of course, because we still need all the sentry jumps in the world. And Shuriken also costs energy during the fights. So is heading into Wellspring as well. And a bit of trouble with the wave dash here. Isn't going for the swag shred that Zuzek went for. Is gonna go for 2 aerial sentry jumps though, just to be safe. You really don't want to trigger that cutscene. And can now also drop down. Let's see. Yeah, and he gets the energy cell before he opens the Wellspring, the kind of reverse entry that Seal was talking about.
Yeah, on the other side here we see Zuzek having a little bit of trouble getting the aerial sentries required to sort of skip most of the first floor of Wellspring. Gresser eventually has now picked up Grapple. So he's going to be, as soon as we get through this, we're going to be entering the second floor of Wellspring. Choosing a sort of safer, slower route here, but still doing a good job. And we'll have to see what he does here with the laser damage tank. He's just opting to not go for it, which is probably a good choice because he doesn't actually have the health to survive a laser hit right now, unless he unequipped Overcharge. Yeah, but we're going to see Zuzek here going to his first combat arena. The Wellspring combat arena is generally very safe and very consistent, but we'll have to see, obviously there's still nerves and stuff involved and things can go wrong. So we're going to see how Zuzek doing here. Honestly, right now doing a great job mopping up these enemies basically as soon as they spawn in most cases. Oh, that Mantis not playing very nice there. Okay, yeah, just use a few Soul Slashes. Probably a wise idea in the end, drop down to a single health, but managing to get through that without taking a death, which means he doesn't have to restart the whole thing again, so good job on that one.
Avoiding the caster curse here. Just barely, as he was trying to skip this cutscene, didn't quite get it. Bobies, yeah, here you see one of the reasons why the timer is so desynced already. It's Bobies' load times tend to be a bit higher compared to other runners. Of course, Zuzek also with the RTA strats means that his pause time really is low, and so the desync just continues to wrap up. And takes a bit of a death here to a laser, unfortunately loses a bit of seconds, but not too many, because yeah, the save points are really lenient in this game.
Yeah, for the most part they are, and then some of them are not. Like the one in the first Wellspring where if you die, you just have to watch a 40-second cutscene again. But yeah, look, most of the time you can be fortunate. That one was a small death, lost a little bit of time, but not too bad. Bobies attempting to go for a tree animation skip there, but not getting it, but still has got the grapple tree. And at this point at grapple, Bobies is actually ahead by 2 seconds. So even though visually the runners are a little bit far apart because of their differing choice in sort of the way they're optimizing their time, this is actually an extremely close race in the early game. So this is, yeah, definitely exciting.
Yeah, and in terms of route divergence, this is pretty much it. We don't have that much more route divergence because the Spirit Light part of the route is done. And that is the main difference in terms of where to go when. So yeah, it is very comparable from now on out. And we will have to see what kind of the difference becomes here, as Bobies is now also heading into the arena, and here you really get to see the difference between bow combat and shuriken sword combat, as Zuzek is starting the Wellspring escape, is gonna go for some tricks here. Yes, is attempting the wheel skip and gets it as well. So that allows for some faster progression into the next area. And oh no, Bobies takes a death to the arena and equips Overcharge to mitigate some of the damage he takes here. And is gonna try again. This is of course the downside towards to this combat option, because you well, can't just stand still and fire your bow. You actually need to get close to your enemies.
Yeah, for sure. We see Zuzek here getting through the walls from her grab. A-okay, nailing that escape, which is really good. Because if you take any deaths in these escape, you have to do the whole thing again, which is always a potential major time loss. Yeah, and we're sort of seeing the major differences here between bow and shuriken. Shuriken is definitely not the best weapon to be using in these combat arenas. It's a lot of small enemies with small hitboxes, which shuriken can sort of struggle to take advantage of. If you compare Bobies' fight to just like Zuzek's fight. In Zuzek's fight, the bow is so powerful you can basically kill every enemy before it can even attack you. Whereas Bobies has got to do a lot more management of actually making sure he doesn't just, take a bunch of damage from the actual enemies because they're actually going to be trying to hit him.
Yeah, totally agreed. And oh no, takes a death here as well, similar to what Zuzek had. So no time loss here compared to the opponent. And yeah, just very carefully maneuvering around here as Zuzek is now approaching the pools area. We are not going to finish this area, of course, because that would kind of defer the point of main quest order, but we are just stopping by to get a skill here that allows us to be faster underwater, as well as getting a teleporter that is super close to the later Qualock boss fight. So that is the objective on Zuzek's side, whereas Bobies almost is at the final part of Wellspring, can almost start his escape as well. And yeah, we will see what he goes for in terms of tricks and that nice area sentries to get up, as well as Zuzek just nailing the aerial sentry to get into Luma Pool. So cool action on both sides. It's really nice to see both of them play so well.
You have two absolutely top caliber runners here. No surprise that they're nailing all of these hard tricks, most of them first try. Yeah, the other thing about this is people keep saying that we don't want to break the main quest order by coming to Luma early. Qualock isn't here right now. You can't fight him. So, like, we actually can't break the main quest order because you can't finish the quest in Luma right now. So, we're all good on that front. If you try his where you're supposed to trigger it, he's just literally not there. Zuzek having a little bit of issue getting through this area. He's going to get up. There we go. Actually gets the double bounce onto that slime. That slime is definitely finicky. If you have too much momentum when you bash it the first time, instead of getting this double bash where it just sort of like travels next to you and you can bash it again and get up to that area very comfortably, it'll just fly off in the opposite direction like a normal bash would sort of maybe you'd expect from a normal bash. So you can't get the double bash and then you're sort of stuck with an awkward backstrat. And yeah, Zuzek here also opting to not go for puzzle skip. So the way this works on patch 2 is if you don't die in Luma at all, which to be fair Zuzek has, so this is not fully reliable, the door in the arena is guaranteed to be open. So by choosing to not do puzzle skip, which does cost you a little bit of time, you do guarantee that you don't get any bad RNG in the arena. Although Zuzek has died in Luma, so there's no guarantee here that the door will still be closed. So hopefully this pays off for him anyway.
Yeah, RNG is one tricky thing in this run, and it happens in two places mainly. One is this, and yeah, door is open. It worked maybe because of the not dying thing, as you alluded to. Maybe because it didn't do the puzzle skip. Can continue onwards. Is gonna do this kind of nice movement and hopefully just get up here without any trouble. Yes. No problem here, and Bobies is getting soggy. We have a time difference of 27 seconds at the word soggy, so did lose a bit of time, unfortunately, due to the death in the combat arena, as well as, yeah, just some minor differences in terms of execution, as Zuzek is pretty much done with the area, just needs to get this water dash and then head left onto the teleporter as Bobies is entering it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so we're going to see Zuzek here having a few sort of struggles throughout this early game, especially with aerial sentries, and we're definitely not done with those, especially for advanced level routing. So we're going to have to see if you can sort of maybe get a little bit more comfortable with that as he continues throughout the run, or whether that's just a sort of place where Bobies could potentially have an advantage and could use maybe his more consistency in that area to pick up some time. But yeah, we're going to see sort of Bobies is going to be entering Luma pools here. Nice little aerial there, nice little bounce out of the water as well. And Zuzek is going to be leaving at just the same time. And we're going to be seeing Zuzek here fight his I guess, technically second boss in Homburg, but sort of maybe like the first sort of real boss, although we are way more souped up than we should be at this point in the game. So we'll have to see how Zuzek does exactly. But yeah, if Zuzek can play this well, we should be seeing him melting through Homburg in about 20 seconds.
Yeah, you can see that health bar just disappearing on us. Is gonna get all the bow shots out. Bobies having less trouble on this rune than Zuzek previously. Is gonna go for the puzzle skip here, so we're gonna take an intentional death here as Zuzek. Yeah, that was less than 20 seconds for sure.
That was absolutely clean. That was probably the cleanest, one of the cleanest Homburgs I've ever seen, actually. That was so fast. I'm pretty sure he did that one fast cycle faster than I'm ever used to doing myself. So that was extremely impressive. And yeah, Zuzek's going to be coming to a very sort of movement-intensive, trick-intensive part of the run here, coming up to Silent Woods entrance. So we're going to do a nice wave dash here, skipping a cutscene, and then he's going to be doing a very cool RTA version of rushing wall skip here. So he's going to be repeatedly dash resetting up the ceiling, and then intentionally dying in these spikes, which will respawn him in a save point, which means that the game thinks he's watched this cutscene, so we can now continue on. So really, really nice job on Zuzek for getting that one.
Yeah. And on Bobby's side, he did also have the good RNG of not having the door closed on him, so luckily no door RNG deciding factor here this race. That would suck if that was like a deciding factor in any game here. So Zuzek also getting through the start of the Silent Woods section really nice. Oh, doesn't quite have the height. Needs to wait here and hopefully gets through here. Gonna get this bubble, and since we have that keystone from earlier, can put it in here, and while waiting for the door to open can collect this keystone, so even though he's RTA optimizing, he doesn't lose any time here.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so you're gonna see here Zuzek is coming to the next sort of major skip-ish. Well, it is a major skip. We're gonna be doing Q skip. Opting for the sentry dash version, gets it first time. Nice, also gets a triple, some dash resets off the ceiling of the entire arena there, which is nice. So not arena, just area. And now, after we've done Q skip, we've got to do Q unskip. So we're going to be collecting that keystone, watching a cutscene here, and then we're going to be heading back the way we came, taking intentional death after picking up save to spawn on Q, which allows us to basically skip the Q cutscene. On Bobies' side, he's finished Luma now, and we're going to be moving over to the Homburg. Apparently, after water dash, Bobies is 21 seconds ahead according to our truck. So yeah, Bobies actually doing a little bit better in the Luma Pools area, able to eke out a little bit of a lead right now.
Yeah, but of course, yet again, there's a lot of run left to go, and yeah, this is actually the mosquito is alive on Bobies' side, but this boss is actually one of the better bosses for Shuriken, I believe. Since you have a lot of area that the Shuriken can ricochet off and just take a lot of damage and get a lot of damage out. So yeah, it is a bit more finicky, as mentioned. You can't just stand still and hit the enemies. You actually have to be close to them and maneuver around them. Has a bit more trouble with this, as Zuzek got Ku successfully and is maneuvering this kind of slow area. But yeah, Bobies also almost done with Hornbuck here. Can actually attack him from the front as well, because the Shuriken moves through Hornbuck and is also now defeated.
Yeah, it's a nice job on Bobies. Definitely, again, doesn't look like Shuriken is quite as optimal for fighting Homburg. But yeah, gets through that okay. Felt a little bit sorry for him because he got a couple of bashes on that mosquito, and the bashes just didn't move the mosquito at all because Ori things. This game just doesn't work sometimes. So yeah, it's a little bit unlucky on his part. I feel like he might have dropped a little bit of time in that Homburg fight compared to how clean it was on Zuzek's side. But I think overall, I think he may still be eking out slightly there. We'll really have to see how he does. Tries to get a recovery there. That was really unfortunate. It's actually going to go for a QTM and a reset to go for this skip again. It was Zuzek going through the sort of more calmer Ku area. Bobies not getting a full height sentry on his first sentry made that trick super awkward. Did his best to try and get some aerials in to do some more dashes off ceilings to sort of get recovery going. As we see now, gets his second try. So good job on getting a second try. Really unfortunate on the first one. As we see Zuzek getting a fairly simple cutscene skip here.
Yeah, we will see if Zuzek also gets the harder skip that follows right after. If you are fast enough, you actually skip another cutscene by just having the cutscene before still playing. Ah, no, that definitely means he won't get it, so we will have to see Shriek poking her head through here. Did kind of have a bit of trouble, but so does Bobies on the left with this minor cutscene skip. Gets it this time. So can continue through Silent Woods, will do a nice wave dash here, and also, well, hopefully the bubble section is nice. If you are consistent here and you have the kind of same setup that you do always do, then this is consistent. But if you screw up, you can kind of have a bit of a disadvantage with the bubbles.
Yeah, the cycles can get very out of sync and very weird, and things you expect to be there no longer are there. Bobby's actually choosing to go for this wave dash across this sort of slow walking pace. We're going to see him going for his coup skip now. Also opting for a Sentry Jazz version. Not having quite as clean a time of it as Zuzek is. Actually struggling just a little bit here. Managed to get it on like the 4th or 5th try, so overall good job. We're going to see what you can do here now with only having a single energy. You can definitely opt to intentionally QTM after picking up the keystone. Is actually going to be going over here and picking up this health plant. But hasn't got the keystone now, so unfortunately a little bit of indecision here. Maybe not super comfortable and familiar with being a low energy in that area. As we see, Zuzek here has completed the coup section. Is going to be heading through to Moldwood now. So yeah, overall I think Bobies maybe a little bit disappointed with the way he just played that, but yeah, it's not a major time loss and he manages to recover nicely. And he definitely has the energy to get through the next part of the section, which is really important, because if you run out of energy there, you can actually soft lock yourself. So yeah, so overall still an okay decision from Bobies, I think.
Yeah, and definitely a good adaptation to be able to recognize that, yeah, these health plants give you energy in this section because you are on coup and, well, you kind of also need energy to complete that section. Zuzek, on the other hand, has completed the coup section, has been given glide and flap by the game, and can now, with that, enter Moldwood. Did, of course, skip the cutscene with a QTM, so we don't want to see that, I think, 40 seconds cutscene to be able to get into Moldwood. Now is able to use bow to kind of supply light, to not instantly die to the darkness as Bobies is making his way with coup. Yeah, and yet again we have about 3.5 minutes of desync between the timers, so although Zuzek may seem way ahead, it's actually much closer than it looks.
Yeah, so Zuzek overall here having a pretty good Moldwood. No sort of really challenging moments or deaths so far. Moldwood is definitely an area where it's extremely easy to die. With the encroaching darkness and stuff, you miss up some movement, suddenly you're just taking deaths out of nowhere. But it's almost through Moldwood now, just got a couple more, or one more sentry jump now and a wave dash, and he's going to be into the most difficult boss fight of the game. We're going to see how he holds up against Mara. As we see Bobies just sort of going through the more, well, people call it relaxed, I don't know if it is relaxed, but yeah, the sort of more chill, less trick-intensive area that is the coup section.
Yeah, you definitely have a bunch of optimizations you can do, specifically with some of the cutscene skips. But we of course have the freedom to do the wisps in whatever order we want, at least the middle 3 ones. But we spawn directly above the entrance to Moldwood Depths after the coup section, so doing Mora directly after is the optimal way to go. Even though we are low on health and energy, we get those after every wisp, but yeah, if you are as good as a runner as these two are, it shouldn't make a difference. However, it's a hard fight, and we already see Zuzek being on half HP. But yeah, first phase done. Is gonna take an intentional death here to reset some health and energy, and now continue throughout the escape and hopefully get to the third phase okay here. But it is looking good, and Bobies on the right side unfortunately also didn't get the scare skip, so no advantage or disadvantage on either side here.
Yeah, so we're gonna see Zuzek here. Yeah, very clean. Phase 1, got a really nice pattern as well. And now we're gonna see him going through phase 2. Hasn't put Reckless on, which usually people do with the start of that phase. It's gonna make the rest of this phase just a little bit dicey, only on a health and a half. So he's gonna have to be a little bit careful by an extra careful dodging the attacks. Oh, nice set of dash dashes there to get past that swipe before it hits him. Yeah, it's managing this fight really well, and Morro's a couple of hits from Death here gets through that. Very nice job from Zuzek. Sort of took made that fight just a little bit more uncomfortable than it needed to with the early damage that he took, but then managed to fight expertly after that. And on the other side, on Bobies' side, we're just going to be going through a number of sort of cutscenes, some of them skippable, some of them not skippable. The basic premise here is that Ku is a lazy bird and likes to sleep, so we're going to help her out. We're going to put her on a somewhat comfortable bed. I don't know if it's very comfortable. It doesn't look very comfortable, to be fair. On the other side, Zuzek here is going to be opening up Bowers Reach, so that is the next area he's going to go to. Choosing to go to here before going to straight to the Qualic fight, because every time you complete a section of the game and get an extra wisp, you get 1 extra health and energy. So it's just a lot more safer and also a lot faster to be getting to be doing Qualic last. On the other side, we're going to see Bobies here having to do a little bit of a detour compared to Zuzek. He has to open up this door that Zuzek has already opened up. By the time he got back to Mod 1, he opened up when the first time we visited the Bash area. So yeah, Bobies is going to be spending just a few extra seconds doing that compared to Zuzek. And yeah, so we're going to see both runners here sort of entering different sections. Bobies going to go for Moldwood, which is very movement heavy, but yeah, we're going to see how Zuzek does in the Bow's Reach section. And yeah, I've been talking for just about 2 minutes. So sorry to Kel. I thought you were going to AFK or something, but welcome back in.
Yeah, no worries. I just didn't notice I was muted still. Tech to be hard sometimes. Zuzek using Sentry here to melt some snow to be able to go through this area without grenade, saving a bunch of time as Bobies is also setting up for a really nice wave dash. Of course, has to be a bit more careful here. Well, not necessarily, but since he doesn't have a lot of bow upgrades, maybe not too used to using bow in this run, but still needs it to survive the darkness here. So we'll make sure to do that as Zuzek is approaching our next combat arena to be able to get to the escape. So let's see how he deals. The first Golek is already down. Now onto the section with the 2 bees or stingers or whatever you want to call it in Mini Hornback. Absolutely no problem. Next are the next Golek as Bobies is just collecting the keystones for later, as well as the additional second health fragment to, yeah, be a bit safer.
Yeah, overall, Zuzek, nice job in that combat arena. Played it a little bit safer than some runners may try to do. Some runners will attempt to do scream skips, where you attempt to kill Goleks before they do that scream, which maybe saves like 1 or 2 seconds per Golek. Yeah, so we're going to see Zuzek doing a little bit more movement to get up to this top section. He's going to be doing another major cutscene skip, and then he's going to have to be going through the Reach escape, which is definitely, at least in my opinion, probably the scariest escape overall. It's the one where definitely it's very, very easy to die. Zuzek does have full health for this. Ooh, unfortunately, doesn't get the skip. And actually, it kind of riskily goes for this QTM. This area is very scary when you mess up the cutscene skip, because the game can crash when you QTM for some reason. It's very weird. Luckily, that didn't happen to Zuzek there. It gets away with a QTM. He's going to be getting through this cutscene skip the second time it's into escape. As you see on the other side of things, Bobies is fighting Mara with Shuriken.
Yeah, very cool combat on the right side. Is able to stay in the air, which in this fight is actually really important because we saw all these ground attacks from Mora on the side of Zuzek that he had to deal with, but Bobies can just stay in the air and avoid them all. First phase done as Zuzek is halfway through the escape. Now Bobies in the escape of his own is going to be able to move up towards the other phase, the next phase, and hopefully also have no problem with that. As Zuzek just finished the escape, no problem for him. Is hopefully gonna be able to skip the cutscene. Nope. Needs to watch at least the first part of Bauer here, but now can just teleport towards Quallock and continue, well, the Wisp Rush here. As Bobies is in the next phase, yeah. He's just able to avoid all of the attacks, and as I say that, he takes the damage, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, weirdly enough, our enemies are not so great at hitting you when you're just hovering in the air. Which is actually very, very easy to do because Solid resets double jump, which resets your Solid animation. So it's very, very, very easy to just sort of float. We're going to see Bobies here with a little bit of a more challenging thing, because in the darkness, when Zuzek was fighting Mora, he has access to light every time his bow fires, which is basically all the time, whereas Bobies does not have permanent access to light. Either he has to fire the bow, like he's doing every now and then through sword slashes, or he has to stay near these lanterns, so it just makes the fight a little bit more challenging. Gets through the fight first time without taking that. That's really nice. He was less than 1 health. And yeah, I'm pretty sure again Bobies picked up this safety health, so even across all these races, every time Bobies picks up a safety health, it always seems to pay dividends for him.
Yeah, in the first race he had in the bracket stage that also was just so vital to all the boss fights, just saving him every single time, and this time it's no different. Wow, that really was close, and Zuzek taking a death here, needs to restart the escape, but fortunately it's not that needs to avoid the cutscene trigger though, to not be soft locked. Gets it, and hopefully gets around this time to be able to fight Quallock and get his final of the 3 wisps here. As Bobies is just entering Bauer's reach, of course. Yet again, the timers are desync by 4 minutes, so even though Zuzek looks way ahead, it is closer than that. Yeah, we can't say for sure how close yet.
Well, an update from our truck at Mara, Zuzek was 1 minute and 19 seconds ahead. So Bobies definitely going to be looking to hopefully pick up a little bit of time save throughout these areas. Maybe do them a little bit cleaner than Zuzek did. But yeah, Zuzek here doing a really good job honestly getting through that first phase cleanly. Definitely not the nicest pattern from Quallock, and the spikes in the middle of the arena can definitely complicate things here. But gets through that cleanly, still at full health, so he's going to have probably a pretty comfortable time beating Quallock down in phase 2. It's mainly just about efficiency, actually choosing to go for quite a few sword slashes here, which is generally not what you normally see, but does help him stay in the air. Yeah, managing to get Quallock down here in a pretty good fashion, so good job to him. That was a really nice fight.
Yeah, very nicely done. Is now able to move on to the next area of the game where we get our second to last skill as well as our last wisp. So we'll hopefully make quick work of that after we watch this cutscene. If you don't like said lore, just focus on Bobies' side. Bobies has action going on. We'll now also melt this ice to be able to go to the next area here and hopefully have a good time with the combat room as well after just a bit more maneuvering around here. Is yet again a bit low on health, but hopefully can sustain that health until the fight room where there is a bit of a plant before.
Yeah, if he chooses to get it, does choose to get it, just, cost a minute amount of time to stop and wait for it to drop on that, etc. Yeah, we're gonna see how Bobies actually handles these shielded Garlic enemies. Oh, actually chooses to do a nice little regen jump to go back to full. Yeah, because again with the bow, you're just gonna bash through them, and then basically if you bash them at the right time, you can kill them and before they can turn around again. Doesn't look like Shuriken is quite as good as that again. So yeah, the Shuriken combat definitely a little bit more challenging in these areas. Not choosing to bash either of these flying enemies, but gets them both set up directly next to each other, so kill them both with Solid at the same time. That's really nice. I think overall this combat arena is very well played from Bobies overall. So it's got 1 more Garlic to go. Having struggling just a little bit with getting him down. To do a few more bashes, but there it is. Yeah, very well done for Bobies on that combat arena.
Yeah, can now also move upwards toward the escape here. So, really nice reach from him. I wouldn't be surprised if he made up some time, especially if he gets that cutscene skip later, first try. And yeah, talking about cutscene skips, we're coming up to another, well, not major skip in this speedrun, but we want to skip a cutscene here. Zuzek needs to stay in the air without touching the ground. Oh, doesn't get it here, needs to QTM because this is a very long cutscene as well as a later cutscene that involves Bobies taking a bit of a death here as well. Needs to be careful. And as you alluded to, if you kind of fail this trick too much and you need to QTM or yeah, something weird happens, you might be able to soft lock your game, and yeah, that would obviously not be great. But Zuzek getting the cutscene skip here really nicely, really smoothly.
Yeah, nice job is at getting through. Bobies out and having a couple of issues just with getting the start of this escape going. Took one death. On the second, both attempts actually got like the snow just covering the screen, which never goes away. Which is just sort of happens when you get in a very, very specific position when you land blindly. And he actually fixed it a second time by just running back to the right. For some reason, that fixes it. So yeah, able to get through this escape second time. Overall, that time loss wasn't significant because it was right at the start of the escape. But yeah, we're going to see Zuzek here heading, he's getting into the end game portion of the run now. It's just about to pick up Burrow, which is our second to last skill. We've got two major areas of the game left. One major boss fight and one, if you can call it a boss fight, one guy who you stand there and bow to death. So yeah, we're going to be seeing if Zuzek can sustain his lead coming into these end game phases or if Bobies can make up the time.
Yeah, absolutely, but there is still a bunch of run to go and a bunch of hard areas. This is of course the late game area and everything deals more damage, everything is a bit more difficult to maneuver even at a higher level. So hopefully nothing goes too majorly wrong here on either side. Bobies now also starting up his Warlock escape as Zuzek opens this keystone door. This is where all the keystone management leads to. This is the final door we need to open. So we just skip all the keystones here and just use the ones we previously got in Moldwood Depth. Needs to be a bit careful about health, but no problem at all. I don't think he has Overcharge equipped anymore. We don't need that since we have a good pool of energy at this point, and as you alluded to, not too much more fighting outside of the final boss.
Yeah, and this is definitely a fight where Shuriken has the potential to be as strong as Bow, because Qualok has a ginormous hitbox, which means that it's so easy to get maximum Shuriken value, and we should see Bobies flying through this fight. On the other side, Zuzek here, getting through Windswept Waves extremely cleanly, so basically no mistakes made, is going to be going into Windtorn Ruins, which is sort of just a very heavy, lore-heavy, slow area where we watch a lot of cutscenes. We'd rather not, but we don't have a choice to. So yeah, so we can maybe focus on Bobies' side. We're going to watch him go through his combat. As you can see, yeah, Qualok's helper here absolutely melting. And unlike for Bow, you basically don't ever need to stop. You don't have to worry too much about energy. So we don't really have any awkward transition phases. We're just in there. And the DPS is a lot more consistent once you get into this water phase, because you basically never ever have to go back into the water like we do with Bow to reset our jumps. And getting through that very, very cleanly. Nice job, Bobies. Great fight.
Yeah, absolutely. That still means he is about 1 minute and 20 behind, but he made up just a tiny bit of time, I think. Can I do math? Yeah, he did make up time here, so about 25 seconds compared to Zuzek, so he is making up that time, of course, mainly because of that combat option. And now is we just have lore on both sides. I'm sorry, there's not a lot happening here. We will see if Zuzek didn't quite get that cutscene skip here, and we will get towards, well, the other long cutscene. There's pretty much 2 long cutscenes you need to watch, and we have both of them on screen.
Yeah. Zuzek here not opting to go for the cutscene skip there, because I guess it's slower RTA, so he's not going to do that. But yeah, getting through into the Power Rangers Assemble, or Wisps Assemble cutscene, where they become the Mega Wisp, as the law goes. But yeah, we're going to see how Zuzek fares in this final escape sequence that we have, or I guess I would say the final real escape sequence with the Sandworm escape. It can definitely be a challenging escape. This is definitely a part of a run where the nerves may start to creep in a little bit. You're getting towards the end of the run, and even though Zuzek has had a fantastic run so far, it's definitely getting to the point where you're getting towards the end of the run. You know some of the most difficult sections of the game are ahead of you, and you know that if you mess up Sandworm Escape, it may potentially cost a lot of time. So yeah, it can definitely just be something that can put your nerves on a little bit of edge. Especially if you don't know how well or how close or far your opponent is from you. So yeah, Bobies finally getting through this cutscene. He's now going to be going through on the right side of Silent Woods. He's going to be going for his own feeding around Skip. And we'll have to see if Zuzek can get through the Sandworm escape cleanly or not.
Yeah, there is, especially by the end, a section where you can easily bonk, especially on KBM. And it is directly at the end of the run. Zuzek here taking an intentional death to refill health and energy completely. And if you die at the end of the escape, you have to do the entire sequence again. So hopefully for Zuzek it doesn't happen. Oh, Bobies having a bit of trouble staying in the air. Oh, gets lifted to the ground. I think we had that situation before. And will opt to QTM here because it does count as a out of bounds, so needs to go through the section again. And Zuzek, in the meantime, no problem with the escape so far. Yeah, the tail of the worm doesn't actually have a hitbox, so he can just chill in there, get out of the sand a bit earlier, and continue the section. Bobies now also getting through the section without touching the ground and without going out of bounds, or, well, going through bounds, I guess. So can continue into Windswept Wastes. And Zuzek, no problem with the end of the escape either. Nicely done. We'll probably do the patient skip where, well, we just stand still in for 42 seconds to skip 5 seconds, I believe.
Yes, at the cost of 1 maximum health and 1 maximum energy. But yeah, Zuzek opting to play the escape quite safely, like that intentional death there, does mean that you're gonna have full health to be able to tank at least 1 spike hit, which is, I think that sort of makes sense if you're feeling confident in your run and feeling confident in your head. You can definitely take those sort of extra safety things. Overall, didn't actually take any damage, so yeah, I'm not sure if he even needs to heal at this teleport that he's going to be teleporting to. But yeah, Zuzek is 1 elevator ride and 1 launch acquirement away from the final and most difficult high skill cap section of the game, which is Willow Tree. So we're going to be seeing how he gets through that section. As I believe, looking at the time, so at Burrow, Zuzek is 1 minute and 40 seconds ahead here. So Bobies is... if he is going to have a chance to come back in this race, he's going to have an extremely clean endgame. And Bobies definitely has the caliber to do that. He's a top runner, so we're going to see how this turns out in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, 1.5 minutes is quite a bit of leeway here on Zuzek's side. He can afford a bit of bad Shriek RNG, but not too many deaths. There are some hearts in Willow's End that are quite long, and if you die quite right at the end, you might lose bit of time. And as you mentioned earlier, it is a very, very hard area to get through fast, especially on this level, so hopefully nothing goes wrong for him. And of course, if you're a Bobies fan, you kind of hope that something goes wrong there.
Yeah, nothing going wrong so far in this elevator ride though, as he clears up the enemies and has exactly 1 energy, which is a perfect amount for a wave dash off of this wall. Nice job, gets that one. Oh, unfortunately bonks the planet and takes some damage and gets knocked back, but overall it's a very, very minor time loss. Bobies getting through the laser section okay, good job for him. That's definitely one of the more difficult parts of Windswept to get through cleanly. I'm going to be healing up here to do an intentional damage tank. Oh, that's very unlucky, the laser cycle just not really in his favor. Going to be coming over here and gets a nicer cycle this time, so we're going to be getting through here successfully, I think. Sort of bunked, but got through the section okay, which is nice. As you're going to see, Zuzek here has picked up launch and he's going to start zooming all over the screen and is almost into the final section of the game, which is Willow Tree.
Yeah, just gonna need to skip this cutscene here by QTMing. as Bobies is heading into the lore area, so we can maybe focus on Zuzek's side here. And we will have 8 hearts to do. We will see, I think, the standard cleanup. So we start at the bottom, start with the bottom right heart, make our way to the left, and then further up the tree. But for now, let's see how this first heart goes. And yeah, actually, Willow has a potential of saving 40 seconds, I believe, for Bobies simply because of the RTA versus in-game time strats here. Because Zuzek will be watching all of these cutscenes, whereas Bobies has the potential to skip 6 of those.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit less than 40, but it definitely is a significant time save because all of these cutscene strats, cutscene skips do not save real time. The sort of other side of that though is Zuzek just has one sort of less thing to worry about going through Willow. Doesn't have to worry about getting these cutscene skips. As soon as he gets through a section, can just mow down the heart as fast as possible with Bo. And Bobies on the other side doesn't have the sort of easiest setup to be taking out these hearts cleanly. Usually with a bow setup, you can hit it 3 times with the bow and then dash into save and hit it 4th time and you'll get the skip. But with sword and unupgraded bow and shuriken, it's definitely not going to be quite as simple for him on that front.
Yeah, agreed. Zuzek is a bit low on health. No, and takes a death here. So, oh, that is quite a death. Needs to go through half of Willow again. Fortunately, launch is a fairly quick skill, so just needs to refresh his launch here, and yeah, he's back to where he started, so not quite as bad of a death as it could have potentially been. So let's see that Quidditch. Nice angles here. Oh, that is a bit high, but corrected and nicely done.
That was awesome. Just I think as soon as he let it go from Bash, he instantly realized that I was going high, made an adjustment to do another launch air, and actually did an additional bash that most people, either wouldn't do, or if they did make that mistake, they would not be able to recover that. So really good job from Zuzek there, that adaptation there to make sure they didn't have to do the trick again. Awesome job. Saved him a bunch of potential time loss there. Racey Bobies has got through, I believe Muffin called it Storytime Temple. Oh, Zuzek, that's really unlucky there. Missing that down slash by like a literal pixel or two, and getting the down slash with speed boost and just flying into the lava like a metric miles of, I don't know what to say, very, very, very quickly. But anyway, as soon as I finished talking, he's already back through that section and has completed the 4th heart. So yeah, 4 done, 4 to go for Zuzek, and his Willow so far looking very good.
Yeah, absolutely. Making quick progress of the hearts. Had some minor deaths though, so Bobies has the potential to save times, but so far nothing major enough for Zuzek, so Bobies is able to catch back up. And Bobies is making his way through this escape now. Just needs to be careful about his burrow angles, because you don't want to bonk in the wrong places and get stuck. Zuzek is in what some people consider the hardest heart, but makes it look easy. Is through this section, 3 hearts to go, and upcoming is what we kind of teased earlier, not really a boss, but kind of a mini boss section, so we will see how quickly Zuzek melts through that. Hopefully doesn't die to this very tricky section, and I cursed it, I am sorry. Hopefully 2nd try is the charm. And yes, this time gets through.
Yeah, nice job on Zuzek there. That area is very finicky, especially Zuzek is playing on controller, so his launches are not quite as precise as a keyboard and mouse player could be, like Bobies. So yeah, having a little bit of a struggle there. Got a nice pattern overall on this this Willowstone fight, and we're going to see Willowstone taken down after basically 1 attack. Got the laser to spin the correct way, so Zuzek basically doesn't have to move the entire time. Doesn't actually have wing clip for that fight, unlike Bobies who does, so we may see if Bobies can do that fight a little bit quicker, albeit he will have shuriken. But yeah, Zuzek now with 2 hearts to go, I think. Yeah, 2 should be 2. I'm pretty sure it's 2. I think I can count to 6. We're gonna see if we can get through this section low on health. Oh, takes an unfortunate death there. But yeah, it's going to be getting through Willow's pretty shortly now. It's going to be finishing this, as you see Bobies also opting to go for patient skip here. So This also makes Willow just a little bit harder and a Shriek fight a little bit harder because he's going to have less health and energy available. The same as Zuzek, but Zuzek gets through had 7 successfully, sorry, and it only has one heart remaining.
Yeah, it takes a bit of a death to the laser, but a really quick one. Bobies now done with the escape, also on his way to acquire launch and go towards the Willow's End area. He is about 2 minutes behind currently in time of the Sandworm escape, so yeah, that is fairly hard to catch up at this point because Zuzek was having a fairly clean Willow up until this point. There were some minor deaths, but nothing that would add up to 2 minutes, I would say. So yeah, it might come down to Shriek. Shriek, of course, is also a fight where, well, just being able to stay in the air can be really advantageous.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, looking at this point, we'd have to get some really either awful Shriek RNG or Zuzek would really have to just blatantly struggle with the Shriek fight. For Bobies to really have a chance here, Bobies could make up time in Willow, but his Willow would have to be like straight up insane. Zuzek is struggling just a little bit in these end phases, taking a few deaths that you probably, again, another one, deaths that you wouldn't expect Zuzek to be making in these areas. Again, these things like this spinning laser section, they seem sort of fine, but as soon as you start dying, the cycles get really weird. So you're trying to move through the area fast, and you feel that you need to go through faster because you just took a death. And then what ends up happening is the laser is just always in the way. So yeah, you end up taking a few more deaths. So a little bit unfortunate there for Zuzek, but gets through the section finally, is now into the Shriek fight, so let's see how he does with that.
Yeah, and of course the first part is fairly straightforward. You know what Shriek is gonna do, so you know exactly how to react to it. Yeah, no problem. Still has half energy here, so it doesn't need to refill at any point up until phase 3. Just needs to do the escape here. Of course this is patch 2, so we won't see any launch swaps, but we might see some nice, well, launching into the ground to be able to get some speed. Doesn't quite get it here, maybe here? No, doesn't go for it. Is through the section now and can start the, well, RNG heavy part of Shriek, and we really hope it's good RNG because, yeah, having bad RNG just always feels bad.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. Got a really nice attack to start here. Laser is basically the best attack you want to see. It's a ton of time you can spend just whacking her with bow. It's an easy attack to dodge. Look at the health bar on Shriek already. Zuzek gets one more nice attack. This is a good one. We could be seeing Zuzek getting the infamous 2 cycle on Shriek here. Basically mitigating all the potential chance for us to see a background attack. Is he gonna get it? Oh, it's so close! It's so close, but he doesn't get it. He took a hit from Shriek's feet there, and I think Shriek is literally 1 bow shot away, and I think because he took that damage there, he actually doesn't get the 2 cycle. I feel like I just cast a cursed it. I apologize, Zuzek. Yeah, using the sword to finish her off, that was very close there. Unfortunate on Zuzek's side, but still a really good phase 3 overall.
Just take the intentional death here as well, just hovering in the air, waiting for the health bar to reappear. Gonna go towards the right to the save point and probably heal up, yes, as Bobies, ooh, takes a bit of a lava hit here. Needs to do this heart again. Fortunately, not quite at the end of the heart, that would have been a bit more annoying, so just a minor time loss here, but yeah, I don't see him making up all the time that he needs, unless Zuzek takes a death here. Hopefully he doesn't, hopefully I didn't curse it, I'm sorry if I did. But yeah, no problem, Zuzek finishes. The final time will be 1:03:25, so that leaves a bit less than 6 minutes for Bobies to finish, and he needs to have the Willow of his lifetime, as well as super insane Shriek RNG to be able to make that up.
Yes, I think like the most optimal Shriek you can get is and this is with bow, which is assumingly a little bit faster than Shuriken, is slightly less than 1:50. So yeah, we're gonna have to see Bobies get perfect Shriek RNG, perfect Shriek execution, and the rest of this Willow tree has to be absolutely flawless. Doing a really good job on Quidditch, should be getting this cutscene skip, so that's always gonna help out just a little bit. But yeah, this is still gonna be a close end of the race, and if Bobies can get into this Shriek fight with a little bit of time to spare, which is potentially possible. We may have a nail biter finish here.
Yeah, always these races where it's an in-game time player versus an RTA player are insane to watch because you don't know how it's really looking until it's over because, well, we have this insane timer desync and it's pretty hard to tell who is in the lead, and we kind of see Bobies going for these cutscene skips, and you see him using the bow for it simply because it is the easiest setup. So he needs to like put the hearts into very specific health spots and then do the last shot with the bow to be able to finish the heart and dash into a save point to kind of skip the cutscene. Oh no. Gets his little walk.
A little unfortunate that like sometimes that cutscene just doesn't catch you, so instead of like stopping immediately and watching it, instead you just have to like walk past it or go past it and then walk slowly backwards. As Ori don't really get a choice through that. Nice. Bobies pulling out some NMG strats here, going for an intentional laser tank on that second laser, which you're almost never going to see in MQOs. That was really neat. And so far, honestly, apart from that little unfortunate misstep with the cutscene, Bobies has had 3 really clean hearts in a row here. The next hub up we're going to be seeing is Willowstone. So we're going to be seeing how Bobies can get through that. Remember that Bobies does have wing clip. So Bobies is going to be dealing double damage to Willowstone here. So we're going to see if how fast he can clear it. I think it's going to die relatively freaking quickly, and possibly faster than what Zuzek did, even though Zuzek had a very good cycle on this boss.
You kind of need to be a bit lucky with where the laser is coming from to be able to deal optimal damage here. But wow, yeah, gets the fully exposed one, so should be able to just melt through it. Yeah, wow. That was faster than Zuzek, I'm pretty sure.
It might well could have been. So yeah, we're going to be seeing Bobies here. 4 hearts in a row where he's played it really well. It is 3 minutes and 20 seconds left. So he has basically 1 minute and 20 seconds, give or take, to make it through the rest of Willow. I don't know if that is possible, even with perfect play. But we're going to see here. It's going to be going down to the wire. This is going to be a really close finish between these 2 runners. Honestly, really awesome race here. As you're going to see, 1 intentional laser tank here gets through the second one fine. And yeah, we're quickly coming up to Hard 7. So this might still be anybody's race here. It's getting so close.
Yeah, this is... wow. Of course, we're kind of assuming that Bobies will have the same RNG that Zuzek had, which is not guaranteed by any chance. It is RNG after all. So hopefully, for the sake of the state of the race, we get some good RNG. So far, yeah, execution-wise, Bobies is definitely having a good Willow. Is getting all the time save here. Oh, doesn't quite make the super fast cycle. So hopefully is able to pull through here now with a launch to be able to skip this. And nicely done. And let's see if he can get this last... No, didn't quite get the last cutscene skip. So we'll watch this. Good in recognizing that he did not get it and not trying to QTM and redo it. So now can go towards the final fight, and he has 2 minutes to spare. I don't think that will be enough.
Yeah, unfortunately here, Bobies would have been very close there, but like just a couple of very minor mistakes on Heart 8. Not getting the cutscene skip, that loses 8 seconds. Not getting the faster wheel cycle there. Just absolutely minute things here. Gets a really nice little launch backflip there to get the streak fight started. But yeah, I think here... Bobies will have to play out his mind, but I genuinely don't think, unfortunately, that it's mathematically possible for Bobies to win this race anymore. But honestly, props to Bobies. That was a super clean Willow. An absolutely awesome job in the race overall.
Yeah, and it really came down to minor things throughout the entire run, and just goes to show that Zuzek does deserve to win this. There wasn't any kind of major mistake on either side. Just pure execution advantage, and wow, insanely close once again. As we're here in the last match of Bracket Stage 2. Bobies making his way through. Has 1 minute left, and I think alone the swooping attack at the end alone is like 30 seconds, 40, so... yeah, he would have to melt Shriek here immediately and doesn't quite get that. Does get another swooping attack, and hopefully not the background attack, hopefully? Okay, not the background attack. It's something.
So we've got the Wing Slam attack now. This is really good for... This is a very good attack to do a lot of damage. And unfortunately, ooh, dropping to half a health here. So gonna be choosing to go for a safety heal. Actually isn't punished for this at all because we're seeing more Shriek swoop attacks. She's gonna be on the left-hand side now. Bobies in like a position here to actually get the 2-cycle. Obviously, we have a few swoops in between here, and I'm not entirely sure on Shuriken DPS. It's gonna be really close again. Ooh, just doesn't quite get it here. Oh, and another one. Shriek is off.
Oh no!
It's like a repeat of the Zuzek fight entirely, where we get 2 good attacks, and I cast the curse at it twice in a row where they don't quite get enough damage to get that 2-cycle before seeing a background attack there. A really, really good attempt from Bobies.
Yeah. Literally 2 sword slashes away. But now also is on the final phase. So just needs to wait here for a bit while Shriek is summoning these feathers, and yeah, we see the timer has gone over Zuzek's time, so Bobies has officially lost the race, but wow, that Willow was really something to watch, and hopefully is able to close it out here in just a few seconds. Just needs to avoid these swoops that are of course not randomized, so he does know where they come from. Doesn't make it any easier necessarily. And hopefully now just able to deal the last damage without dying, and yeah, GG.
GG's to Bobies. So I think he's going to be finishing, 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 21 seconds. So yeah, less than 60 seconds between our 2 runners today here. Very, very, very close second round tournament match here. Zuzek taking the victory, and Zuzek is going to be moving on to the semifinals now. I believe it's the semifinals, and he's going to be facing Scarfelt. So that's definitely going to be an interesting race. Obviously, Scarfelt is the first seed and also the world record holder of the category. So we're going to see how Zuzek can sort of square up and match against him.
Yeah, and Scar also mentioned that they will adapt to their opponent. So as Zuzek is playing RTA, we will also see RTA from Scarfelt. So if RTA is something you enjoy over IGT, then definitely go and watch that race. GG to Zuzek for winning, and we will ask both runners if they are up for a bit of a chat, because wow, I do believe we both have questions for them.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm actually really excited to see that the race between Zuzek and Scaffold, and I didn't actually know the Scaffold will be performing RTA, and that sort of will help even the field out a little bit, because, you know, Zuzek is running RTA because he really enjoys doing RTA strats over IGT strats, but objectively they are just a little bit slower than optimizing for IGT. Yeah, so that's definitely going to be a really interesting race.
Yeah, we will of course have to wait for that to be scheduled, but now all the 4 semi-finalists are known and can start scheduling their races, and honestly, both of the semi-finals will be amazing to watch. Of course, you will be up against Ryan, and we will have Scarfelt versus Zuzek coming whenever our runners, of course, can schedule it. Time zones, unfortunately, and work and life are things, so yeah, we will inform you on the Discord when it is time for the next matches.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
we are getting both runners in for an interview, I think. At least Bobies will join us.
Sounds good to me.
So we were waiting on our runners here. Yeah, Seal, are you excited for the semifinals? Also from a viewer's perspective, but also, of course, from a runner's perspective.
I am definitely excited. I'm just, you know, every single race in this tournament so far has been awesome to watch. I've had a really, really great time. Sort of enjoying and get to see all the runners show up their skills, get to see some close runs and stuff, and then I'm also obviously now into the semifinals versus Ryan, and that's going to be a super interesting race. I think Ryan is someone who is most comparable to me skill-wise right now. So yeah, hopefully it's super close. It's going to be really, really fun to run against him.
Yeah, definitely excited to see that happening. And yeah, we do get both our runners in for an interview, so just gonna wait for that. No more matches scheduled for now, for later. But of course, yeah, we've had a lot of Ori content this weekend. If you missed any of the action, you can watch it on the Twitch channel, of course. We will work on getting them up on YouTube, but for now they stay on Twitch. And yeah, we have both runners on deck, so let's pull them in for an interview. GG to both of you, and GG Zuzek for winning.
GG's.
Yeah, then maybe starting with the question that maybe generally, what were you kind of the most proud of during the run? Maybe starting with you, Zuzek.
I think I managed to keep stay like pretty level-headed even when things were going wrong generally, except for Willow. I kind of lost my head at Willow. Other than that, it was pretty good.
Yeah, and for you, Bobies?
There was this one thing at Bow Room where I hit the mosquito and then managed to hit it and do a jump and actually not fall, and I was super happy about that. Even though it wasn't that crazy, I just backed up and I was like, yay, that was good.
Sometimes it's the small things. Yeah, and maybe specific question for you, Bobies. We saw a bit of lag during the run. Was that the normal amount of lag, or was it more than usual? And how do you usually deal with that?
Just a tiny bit of lag. I feel like that's been usual in the past week or two because I don't know. I guess computer is getting old and it's getting too hot for it. I deal with it by dealing with it, I guess. You eventually get used to it, but I'm losing time everywhere. And honestly, I even think the timer just isn't that good with lag, and sometimes I'm just losing time because it's lagging and I can't do anything about it. So that's life, but yeah, just laggy computer. Can't do much about it.
Yeah, really unfortunate.
When I finished my run, I saw yours was lagging so much and the timer was still going. I don't know. I just felt so bad. Like, that was really sad.
It's fine, really. I'm used to it and it's completely fine. I'm more I'd get more mad at stuff that I personally did badly more than the lag because I can't do anything about the lag, so no need to worry too much about that.
That makes sense. I have a question for you, Bobies. How do you feel about sort of your journey through the tournament? Considering let's try and not think about the lag for a second. I'd try and focus on things that you do have control over. But obviously, I think you came in as if not a fully new runner, but a fairly inexperienced main quest order runner, and then ending up facing against Zuzek, who is, I think, 4th or 5th on the leaderboard right now, and having a very, very competitive race with him. Yeah, just talk to me a little bit about your journey through learning main quest order, and if there's any particular sort of really fun parts of the category you like, or any sort of highlights in sort of what you've achieved so far in the category.
Well, honestly, I'm super happy that the tournament happened because I was kind of it's been a long time coming since I was I should probably try and run MQO and see if I could actually compete with some of the top leaderboardish people. And so, you know what? I think in the end, I sort of managed what I wanted to do, and I think I started learning this 2 months ago or something like that. And so I feel like I ended in a good spot, getting a sub 105 here, and hopefully I'll get an actual sub 105 on the leaderboard soon enough, and I can quit MQO probably because I'm very satisfied with what I've been doing.
Nice. Yeah, sub 105 with Shuriken would be really, really awesome to see on the leaderboard.
Totally.
Yeah, and then maybe Zuzek, question to you. You kind of chose the RTA strats. Is there a reason behind it besides just maybe not wanting to deal with the QTMs?
Yeah, I just think it's more fun. I used to play with QTMs, but ever since I got the 102 on the leaderboard that I felt happy with, I just started playing with RTA strats, and it's more enjoyable. So I never really wanted to go back.
Yeah, and then
Mm.
maybe the question kind of leading forward to that, Skyfield mentioned that they will adapt to their opponent and also do RTA if they face an RTA opponent. So my question is, do you plan on kind of integrating that kind of knowledge into your strategy? Do you plan on changing anything up for your next match? What's the strategy here?
Yeah, I'm just happy that I believe they could be competitive with RTA strats, even against QTMs, and that worked out. But I mean, against Scarfield, there's not really much of a plan. I'm gonna lose, but it's fine. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with how things went.
Are there any specific areas that you want to improve on or focus on in practice, or are you just gonna, you're not too worried about that? You just want to get into the race.
I don't think I'm even gonna try practicing. I've been, I will swear, this past week mentally, and it was just happy to turn the game on and just play a run and give it my best. And I think that's a big reason why I managed to stay level-headed, even making little mistakes. But it was just fun playing the game, so I never got too angry about it. That made it a better run.
Awesome. I completely get that.
Yeah, then maybe the question to you, Bobby, since you said you're kind of satisfied with your MQO and don't want to improve with that, what can we expect from you in terms of speedrunning, in terms of Ori maybe in the future? Or are you just gonna take a bit of a break now?
I don't know too much. I think maybe I want to push till I get the sub 105 and MQO. But I might just admit defeat to my computer's lag and just give up on Will of the Wisp for the summer and try and find something else. I don't know. Maybe playing Blind Forest again. I'll have to see. I know Blind Forest lags a lot less, so I could just play that and have a more satisfying time.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't have any more questions for now. Seal, do you have any specific questions?
Nope, no more questions from me.
Well, then that is it for us for now. That was the last match of the bracket round 2 between Zuzek and Bobies, with Zuzek being the winner. And yeah, we have no more matches scheduled for now. If you want to know when the next match is happening, you can join the Discord, or if you are there, you can get the tournament viewer role. And with that, thank you all for watching. Thank you, Seal, for being a great co-commentator. Thanks, Turtle, for supplying us with all the times and some nice little information. And thanks for Appletree for handling the restream. And yeah, we will see you all later. Bye-bye.